Good afternoon and welcome to the dedication and inaugural tribute of the Foster and Muriel McCarl Coverlet Collection and the tribute to Foster and Muriel McCarl. We regret that Mrs. Muriel McCarl is not able to be with us this afternoon. Muriel worked closely with Foster in building this world-renowned coverlet collection, which features the work of some of the most creative coverlet weavers in history. Foster and Muriel's 4 sons, Jim, Brian, Sean, and Kevin, continue to be involved in helping St. Vincent College to carry forward the legacy of their parents. We are deeply privileged here at St. Vincent to have been entrusted by Foster and Muriel McCarl with the preservation and the advancement of this great legacy, and what a legacy it is. The Foster and Muriel McCarl Coverlet Collection represents the premier collection of coverlets in our nation. This is a unique and historic collection. Brian McCarl, who worked closely with his father and mother in the acquisition of historic coverlets, will speak about this collection in a few moments. Thank you very much, Jim and Brian, Sean and Kevin, and all of your family, for your presence here and for your continued involvement with St. Vincent College in preserving and advancing the legacy through the educational opportunities provided for students, schools, and the public at large, both here at St. Vincent and throughout our nation through the National Coverlet Database, housed here at the McCarl Coverlet Gallery. Thank you all for being here to pay tribute to the shared vision of Foster and Muriel McCarl, and to dedicate this Coverlet Gallery to the preservation and ongoing acquisition of historic coverlets, and to providing educational and research opportunities for generations to come. I am now pleased to welcome the curator of the Foster and Muriel McCarl Coverlet Collection at St. Vincent College, Ms. Lauren Lamondola. Lauren?
Thank you. I am pleased to join Father Paul and the entire St. Vincent College community in welcoming the McCarl family, friends, and guests of the college to the dedication of the Foster and Muriel McCarl Coverlet Collection. We are honored to have here at St. Vincent the Coverlet Collection assembled with such great passion and care by Foster and Muriel McCarl. Coverlets are unique works of art, and they provide us with important links to early American history. Coverlets were an important practical item in every home, originally woven by women in the household for personal family use. During the period of colonial America, most weavers constructed these coverlets on 4-harness looms, which was limited in its ability to produce complex and intricate patterns. However, in 1804, a gentleman named Joseph Marie Jacquard revolutionized the process of weaving when he invented the loom, a loom attachment that automatically identified the warp and the weft threads through the use of patterned punched hole cards. The Jacquard loom exemplifies the first practical use of the binary system that led to the development of the modern-day computer technology. As the capacity of producing more complicated and interesting patterns emerged, a commercial marketing of coverlets for special occasions developed. At this time, between 1810 and 1860, men became the dominant producers in weaving coverlets for commercial purposes. With the Jacquard loom, weavers were able to create the vastly intricate designs found in the figured and fancy coverlets of the Foster and Muriel McCarl Coverlet Collection. The new Jacquard technology allowed the weaver to incorporate names, locations, and dates into the coverlet, which could be produced for special occasions, such as a wedding. These historical details are one of the qualities that make this coverlet collection so unique and valuable. Through the historic data included in the coverlet itself, we are able to get a glimpse into the past and explore the lives of the weavers and the individuals who received and cherished these coverlets, which were handed down from generation to generation. We are officially dedicating the Foster and Muriel McCarl Coverlet collection today with an exhibition of coverlets woven as wedding gifts. Following the dedication ceremony today, we invite you to view the exhibition of wedding coverlets and bridal gowns. Foster and Muriel McCarl cultivated a respect for the history of the coverlets and the people who created them. We are honored to carry on the legacy of Foster and Muriel McCarl through the preservation, exhibition, and ongoing research of these unique coverlets. St. Vincent is pleased to have this world-renowned collection entrusted to its care. This coverlet collection is a testimony to the dedication of Foster and Muriel McCarl, both to the preservation of these important works of art and their desire to provide future generations with an appreciation of the values of history and the need to understand that every generation builds on it what it has received from previous generations. Thank you.
The president of St. Vincent College, Brother Norman Hips, is a mathematician. He received his doctorate from Northwestern, and I'm pleased to invite him to the podium today and to speak about the mathematics, of all things, behind coverlets and the intricacies between the matrices and the interesting jacquard weaving. So I invite Brother Norman, our mathematician, to enlighten us about the numbers behind coverlets.
Paul was one of my students, majored in mathematics, but he's not going to get me quite into that world of binary systems. But as president, I am delighted to add my welcome on this festive occasion. You know, St. Vincent is an interesting place. It's often that you get questions like, whose statue is that in front of the church? Or is it true that the recipe for Rolling Rock beer was originally from the Benedictine monks? Or where is the best place for me to stand so that I can get a picture of Troy Polamalu? Now, another common question has become, what's a coverlet? Well, no need to answer that question here, but perhaps you may be wondering about the logo of the McCarl Gallery, that it's adorned with a peacock. Okay? So who better to ask than the designer of the logo? He's one of our recent alumni, Jordan Hainsey, who, with an artist's eye of his own, made a private tour of the coverlet collection. He was fascinated by all of the symbols and the motifs in the coverlets, and he could have used a number of different possibilities for the logo, but he chose the peacock. I wanted, he said, to choose something that would represent aesthetic beauty, but also the idea of beauty. For the coverlets are not just a tangible artistic tradition and craft of early America, but they also stand for something greater, the stories and the culture of the people who fashioned them. So I came across a peacock in one of the coverlets, and I thought this represented beauty in both dimensions. Taking a look at the presence of the peacock throughout art history, I thought this same regard would be consciously or subconsciously understood by the people who came to know the coverlet collection. I share Jordan's hope that visitors will walk away with a renewed sense of commitment to make our world a more beautiful place in which to live. We are all heirs of so much knowledge, skill, and talent. To me, this gallery is a visual treasure, not only to applaud the people who are no longer with us to hear it, but to be inspired by their example. St. Vincent College is like any institution of higher learning where we want to prepare our students to be good at what they do. But I also hope that we are passing on to them something more, and to live up to the mission of our founder, Archabbot Boniface Wimmer, who said, "My heart is in this work, and I will spare no expense to teach the students first what is necessary, then what is useful, and finally what is beautiful, so long as it contributes to their refinement." Let this moment be an opportunity for you and me to pass on to people that we will never get to know something which is worth preserving. I add my special thanks to Muriel McCarl, wife of the late Foster McCarl, to their sons Brian, Jim, Sean, Kevin, to the entire McCarl family for entrusting this collection to St. Vincent College, where I can promise you that each coverlet is handled with gloves and tender, loving care. Thanks so much to Lauren Lamandola, who put this special collection on the wedding coverlets together for this dedication. Thank you all for your presence, for your support of our efforts. God bless.
Thank you, Brother Norman. And now, to honor his parents and to speak about the collection, it is an honor to introduce to you Foster and Muriel's son, Brian McCarl.
Good afternoon. I'm prepared with my speech, all written on the bank deposit slip. I'd first like to take this opportunity to introduce family that is here this afternoon. We'll start with my lovely bride of 2.5 months, Kristen. Thanks for being here with us. I have my second daughter, Mara, and her fiance, Tony. Where are you, Mara and Tony? Oh, right there. Oh, you're hiding. And my youngest daughter, Melissa. Also, I have my oldest brother, Jim, and his wife, Carol. They're here with us. My younger brother, Kevin, and his new wife, Tammy. They almost got here on time today. And Kevin has some of his children with him, Michael and Casey. His wife, Casey, are here. And his daughter, Jessica. Our youngest brother, Sean, couldn't be here. He's on vacation in Hilton Head. Also, we have my mother's cousin, Muriel Ray Havel, and her husband, Dan. We appreciate them coming the whole way from Cleveland to be with us today. Thank you very much. The first order of business today is to thank a lot of people that have helped make this project come to fruition. So I have to start with the top, and that would be the Arch Abbot, Douglas Nowicki. We appreciate all your help over the years, and it has been years. Along with that, I have to thank Father Paul. I also have to thank Bill Malloy. Bill's no longer with St. Vincent, but he had a connection with my father like no other individual I've ever seen, and he went a long way in helping this project come to a successful conclusion. I also want to thank David and Clarita Anderson for coming today and being with us. Clarita was very instrumental in the printing of the second book on the weavers in the United States with documentation of over 700 coverlet weavers. A lot of time and effort went into that book and the preparation for that book. And it is now recognized as the most instrumental book for coverlet collectors in the world. So thank you for being here, Clarita and David. We appreciate it. Along with that, we have her database, which lists all these weavers, all their information, their locations, their birth dates, their passing dates, their children, their wives. Many of them had several. So there's a lot of information that she has here on file for those that are researching these coverlets that may be in this collection or another collection. So we thank you for everything you've done for us. My purpose today here is to talk a little bit about the journey to get to this point. And then I'll turn it over to my brother Jim, who will talk about the future from this point forward. I can remember 4 or 5 years before Dad passed away, trying to find a proper place to house over 300 coverlets. And when I say 300 coverlets, I was probably with them for over 2/3 of the purchases of those coverlets. Those trips took us from Cleveland, Ohio, the whole way to Harrisburg, Philadelphia, and New York. We couldn't find an adequate place. We looked at my house, an historical house that really wasn't conducive for a museum. We looked at an old bank building in Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania, and we couldn't get the local support that we needed. We looked in Ligonier, and the asking price was too high. So we were in a dilemma, and Dad's good friend, Father Joe Lemp, mentioned St. Vincent College. The connection was made, and we met with the Arch-Abbot, and it's history from that point on. So we owe a debt of thanks to the late Father Lemp for his instrumental work in seeing that the Coverlet collection came here. My father worked over 25 years volunteering his time in the Black Hawk School District as a director, a school board member. And one of his goals in life was to see that every child had a proper education, because you see, his goal was to go to college when he was a young man. Unfortunately, when he suffered a broken leg in his sophomore season, his opportunity for a college scholarship through football was lost. So he became a self-educated man. He swore to the good Lord that he would make sure that his 4 boys had the opportunity to go to college. Well, when he served on the school board, he wanted to make sure that the kids got a good education. And when it came to donating his coverlets, he wanted to make sure that they could be used for an educational purpose. So when we hooked up with St. Vincent College, we knew that we had the right match. They talked about the care of coverlets. They talk about wearing cloth gloves. That was another concern. You look at a lot of coverlet galleries throughout the world, and there's nothing like we have here. Air conditioning, humidity control, fire protection, lighting control. Everything that's conducive to making sure that these coverlets remain pristine over the years. So we did select the right place when we picked St. Vincent College. You just happened to mention the peacock as the logo for the Coverlet gallery. I was in Dad's house today to pick up a picture, and up on the bed was a coverlet that he had made by someone that reproduces them. And the center field was filled with peacocks, and it had Mom and Dad's name in the corner blocks of that peacock. That's really odd that they would mention the peacock as the logo today. And then I want to talk about trust. When you put your whole life into purchasing 300 coverlets, and I can't tell you how many hundreds of thousands of dollars they're worth, but trust was a big part of where we were going to put this collection. And we definitely found it here, and they do treat them with the utmost regard for condition, and we really appreciate that. At this point in time, I'd like to turn, I've probably forgot 1,000 things. If I did, I beg your forgiveness. But I'm going to turn this over to, you want to take it over now, or you want me to give it to Jim? You go ahead, you're doing it. Earn your keep.
Thanks, Brian. Thank you, Brian, very much. And now to speak about the McCarl legacy and the future, and to honor his parents, it's my pleasure to introduce to you Foster and Muriel's son also, F. James Jim McCarl.
So many stories, so little time. My brothers are here, so they'll keep me honest. But the real big thanks needs to go to Brian. Because without him, this, excuse me, this would never have happened. He put in hours. He put his job at risk. He put relationships at risk. But he got it done. So thanks, Ryan. Anyhow, it's a joyous event, and I'm sorry I'm a little emotional, but I'm the oldest one, and I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot of things of the journey my mom and dad took, and they had a wonderful trip on their journey. As the oldest son, I remember the beginnings of their passionate pursuit for the very best in American history, the grandfather clock that was their first acquisition, the trips to auctions and antique dealers who befriended this young couple from Beaver Falls and mentored them as to the difference between the good, the bad, and the fake. All of you watch Antiques Roadshow, so you know what I'm talking about. And believe me, they did get a few fakes in there, too. The family trips to Gettysburg, I think I went there 4 times because I was the oldest and had 3 younger brothers. Williamsburg, making candles at Old Economy, all on learning more about history. Dad was an avid reader and lover of the Civil War. Mom loved the how-to of making candles, making music, and learning how the beautiful coverlets and quilts they had bought were made. I remember going to Milan, Ohio, Foster's Antiques, Garth's, New Hope, Pennsylvania, New York City, the Bevins, the Samahas, and all the fine friends that helped Foster and Muriel McCarl fuel their passion for collecting the history of America. Our family is so glad that Father Joe Lempf introduced our parents to St. Vincent's. This allowed, this allowed a partnership to allow our parents to keep one of the jewels of their collection in Western Pennsylvania. We are thrilled at how the college has been able to incorporate an educational component into the collection and the displays. You'll see that when you go back there today. This will be a real legacy for our parents and our family, and will help future generations enjoy these beautiful coverlets and enjoy and understand more about the makers, their lives, and the history of this amazing country of ours. A final thank you to Lauren Lamondola, curator, for this wonderful exhibition she's put on. I know you're going to enjoy it. And we made an announcement to Father before the foundation is committed ourselves to help them take it to the next to the next level, making a significant contribution because we believe in what our parents started, and we want to see it to the end. And we will be here shoulder to shoulder at St. Vincent College. Thank you, and enjoy the day.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Jim. As both Jim and Brian mentioned, many years ago, Father Joseph Lemp introduced Foster and Muriel McCarl to Archabbot Douglas. That one providential moment grew into a fast friendship and a sharing of the importance of American history, especially expressed in these coverlets. Muriel and Foster and the Archabbot planned together this gallery and collection so that now we stand before their good work. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you Archabbot Douglas Nowicki, Chancellor of St. Vincent College, for the dedication prayer.
Before the dedication prayer, however, there is a dedication message. You might want to, if you get tired, sit down, but it indeed is a privilege and pleasure for me as the Archabbot of St. Vincent and the Chancellor of St. Vincent College to welcome all of you here today for this dedication of the Foster and Muriel McCarl Coverlet Collection. As Brian and Jim both noted, Foster was certainly an exceptional human being. He was a man of great energy, a risk taker, an entrepreneur, a man of deep loyalty and dedication, not only to his wife, to his family and friends, but as Jim noted, to the community as well, the larger community. Foster did not fear challenges. When others in the community gave up or despaired, whether it be education or some task or problem that confronted the community, Foster took charge. For Foster, every problem had a solution, and he was willing to give his time, his energy, his talent to make sure that those solutions were available and were of help to the people of his community. His great intellect, his insights and energy enabled him to become a successful business leader. Foster's satisfaction and greatest satisfaction, however, didn't come with making money. It came with using money and his mind in ways that would help people. and what a great help he was to so many through his generosity, through the care that he extended to everyone in need that ever knocked on his door. Whether it was serving on the Black Hawk School District Board, the United Way, the Beaver Falls Chamber of Commerce, the Salvation Army, the Pittsburgh Symphony, or teaching Sunday school at the Chippewa Methodist Church, Foster was a loyal, dedicated, and effective leader. By his own example of hard work and dedication to the common good, Foster McCarl is indeed an American idol. One institution that benefited greatly from his years of service was certainly the McGuire Memorial Home, where he served as a founding member for over 40 years. Under his leadership, the McGuire Home became recognized as a premier provider of services for persons with mental and physical disabilities and to their families. In recognition of his dedicated service in helping the community and the entire region, in 2004, St. Vincent College recognized Foster's outstanding stewardship by awarding him an honorary doctorate. It was a great personal privilege for me to get to know Foster McCarl. It was his desire to find a permanent home for his world-class Coverlet collection that led him to St. Vincent, again through the good friendship of Father Joe Lemp, a graduate of St. Vincent College and Seminary. It was the day after Christmas, over a dozen years ago, that Foster came to St. Vincent to meet me and to talk about his coverlets. I gave him a tour of the campus. He fell in love with the grist mill and also the fact that we had monks who still did weaving. When I took him to the second floor of the grist mill where the weaver's den is, and one of our monks was down there weaving, and I think it really helped to convince Foster just the tremendous value that weaving and the tremendous value for honoring the past and the heritage of the past would receive here at St. Vincent College. Although we did not have a jacquard loom, which Lauren described a little bit earlier, and it is our hope someday to acquire one, so if anyone has one of those sitting in your attic or in your basement and would like to donate it, please know that we're more than happy to receive it. And Father Thomas Moore, who is our master weaver here at St. Vincent, has promised me that he would be happy to go to learn how to use the jacquard loom. Foster, of course, became recognized in time as the most important collector of coverlets in the country. And I do want to join Brian and Jim and Kevin and the entire McCarl family in recognizing the great contribution which Dr. Clarita Anderson made in helping to bring the world of coverlets to recognition, to give it the proper respect and due recognition that the coverlets and the weavers of those coverlets deserve. So if you would again join me in expressing our gratitude to Dr. Clarita. Our book, The American Coverlets and Their Weavers, Coverlets from the Collection of Foster and Muriel McCarl, really is the Bible for coverlet collectors, and we're grateful for the wonderful contribution that she's made. And Dr. Anderson and Catherine Hawthorne have donated the valuable research which they have done over the years, particularly under the auspices of Dr. Clarita Anderson, to St. Vincent. And so now that research data will become available to scholars throughout our nation. And again, we're very grateful for that wonderful contribution that Clarita has made to St. Vincent College and to the coverlet collection. Clarita was here back in over a dozen years ago when Foster brought together people from Colonial Williamsburg and some of the experts in coverlets from throughout the nation for a meeting to talk about how we might best preserve and continue this wonderful legacy here at St. Vincent. And Clarita was there at the beginning, and it was just wonderful to see the friendship and deep appreciation that Foster had for the work of Clarita, recognizing that she indeed is the guru of American coverlets, and again, we're grateful for her presence here today, and also with her husband David. During the period in which the discussions were taking place here at St. Vincent about where the Coverlet collection would be housed, there were discussions of whether it would be best. Originally, Foster liked the idea of it being in the grist mill, and then we looked at the old print house, and then finally, when plans were in motion for the building of this Fred Rogers Center here at St. Vincent, it became clear that Foster McCarl and Fred Rogers, both two great Americans who cared about the community, who cared about people, that it would be wonderful to bring together these two individuals and their contributions by housing the Fred Rogers Archives and the Foster and Muriel McCarl Coverlet collection here together in the same building, and we're grateful that these two wonderful human beings now can be represented through the works of their lives that they've dedicated here in the Fred Rogers Center at St. Vincent College. I joined Brother Norman, our president, along with Father Rene, who is the Dean of the School of Humanities and Fine Arts. He's also the one whom Lauren reports to on a frequent basis, and anyhow, we're grateful for the contribution and the guidance that he's given to Lauren Lamadola, who is our curator, and we're certainly grateful for the great work that she's done and the energy that she's put into this exhibition that you'll have an opportunity to view in a few minutes. Again, I would ask Jim and Brian and Kevin to extend our gratitude to their mother, Muriel, who is unable to be here with us today because of her health, but know that she's in our prayers, and the great bond of friendship that certainly she has with St. Vincent now through entrusting us with the care of the Foster and Muriel Coverlet collection here at St. Vincent is something that we cherish and are deeply grateful for. As Jim had mentioned a little earlier, the McCarl Family Foundation 10 minutes ago announced to me that they were making a major grant to the Coverlet collection, and so I want to extend our gratitude to them for their ongoing support and continued involvement. Many of these coverlets spend time on their beds, so they're like their personal family members, so we know that they have a great deal of interest in watching the growth of this collection in the years to come. To Clarita, again, my thanks for being here today, and to Father Rene, to Lauren, to all who contribute, the students who are so much a part of the Coverlet collection. You'll see them with the Foster and Muriel Coverlet collection shirts on here today. My thanks to them. And also, if you would just on the back of your cover, please note the sponsors who have helped to make this day possible. At the end of the afternoon, after you've had the opportunity to view the collection and to partake of the reception upstairs, and please, at the end of this, please go upstairs. There's a wonderful buffet that has been prepared along with drinks, and we hope that you'll have an opportunity to visit with Jim, Brian, Kevin, and the McCarl family, and also to help all of us to celebrate this wonderful occasion. But again, my thanks to our sponsors who donated so generously to this day, and to George Fetkovich, who put together the wonderful booklet on the Coverlet collection here at St. Vincent College, and my deep appreciation again to all of you for your presence here this afternoon. And now to do what I was asked to do this afternoon. Clarita, did you want to say something?
I just wanted to say that I think Foster McCarl is jumping up and down in heaven at the completion of his dream. We used to talk about dreams, and this was his dream, and I know he must be jumping up and down in heaven with pleasure.
Thank you, Clarita. And I know that he will be jumping up and down knowing that you took the time to be here today and to drive from your home to be here with us this afternoon, so my thanks to you. So in the spirit of God's all-embracing love that brings us together this afternoon for the dedication of this Coverlet collection, let us bow our heads in prayer. Lord God, you are the source and giver of every good gift. In your kindness, hear our prayers for Foster and Muriel McCarl as we dedicate this center to the preservation of American coverlets, which they have collected over many years. We thank you for their family and friends who join us today. Keep them in your ever-abiding care. Make this a center where students, teachers, scholars from throughout the nation can come together in the pursuit of a deeper understanding of the values and virtues which inspired this Coverlet collection and inspired the foundation of this nation. Bless the McCarl family and all who are gathered here today. Keep us all in your ever-abiding care. We ask this all through Christ our Lord.
This concludes our ceremony and program. You are welcome, please, to view the coverlets in the gallery and to join us for a reception upstairs for a buffet. Welcome, and you are always welcome to return. Thank you.